Hard to believe you'd need to take your shirt off in September, but I don't know, are you kids sweating? Yeah, a little bit. I didn't know if it was the beginning of menopause or if you kids were sweating too. I knew I would do something unique, but I didn't know it would be this. You know, as a kid, you always think you're so special. And since I was the baby and the youngest and the littlest one in the neighborhood, and you know, I was probably pretty spoiled, but I always thought I was special and I always knew I would do something unique. I just didn't know what it would be, and luckily it's this. And for me, being who I am, it's wonderful to have something that's all mine and not compete with anyone, even though I'm fairly competitive. It's mine and I love it, and the community has supported it, and it's affirming, and it feels very wholesome to me to do this.
In this land of 10,000 lakes, Mary Schideler has devoted the past 12 years to kayaking the lakes of Itasca County.
It started as a hobby, now it's a lifestyle. The community identifies me as the Kayak Lady.
A community steeped in pristine nature along the banks of the Mississippi, Mary, the Kayak Lady, has called Grand Rapids, Minnesota, home her entire life.
This project is something that I dreamed up, so it's not like the state or God or the governor or anybody said, hey, go paddle these lakes. And I knew there was over 1,000 lakes in the county. And I just thought, wouldn't it be neat to be able to get on a few more of these lakes? I'd see lakes, I'd see creeks, and I'd always wonder, is that a clear water creek, or is, you know, what's behind that island, or is that really a big bay, or I wonder, does it have lily pads in that creek, or, you know, what's really back there? And so I'm 50% Russian and 100% curious, and so I just wanted to know. I wanted to know, what is this like?
Growing up at a resort owned by her parents, Mary's love for nature started at an early age.
I never did have a domestic pet growing up because I grew up at Back in the Moon Resort on the north end of Bass Lake. My parents didn't want any pets there because other people that came to the resort brought pets. And sometimes dogs want to tangle with porcupines or skunks, and that would not be a good thing. So the pets that I had, the first pet I had was imaginary, and that was an invisible Chihuahua that was named Peanuts. And then Peanuts was replaced by a raccoon, a baby raccoon. It was an orphan, and we named that raccoon Fig Newton because Figgy, who was very tiny at the time, liked to eat Fig Newton cookies. And then there was a chipmunk named Alvin after the singing chipmunks.
The days when Mary passed long hours near this shore may have come and gone as the resort passed into the hands of new owners. However, stories of days past have been passed on.
We originally met Mary in 2003, the same year that we bought the resort. She and her mother came out and introduced themselves to us, and so we got acquainted with them then, and since then they've been coming out.
She's full of stories to tell us of things that happened in the past. From the time Mary could walk, she wore a life jacket because her parents knew that she was going to be in the water, so they made her wear a life jacket wherever she went.
She's very energetic, very intelligent, just well known around the community and well liked, and just a great person.
I can understand why people are drawn to her because of her personality.
Now, a few years down the road, Mary still finds herself returning to the water.
When I go alone and go kayaking, it's an opportunity just to commune with nature, just to be with my God, just to have some downtime where no one expects anything. Nothing's expected. I can just let life unfold as it would. And I can trust that life will unfold. And kayaking helps me do that. I had paddled about 32 lakes that first season, and I thought, you know, I bet next year I can get to 50 lakes. And so I set a goal every year to get to 50 new and different lakes in Itasca County, and I've met that goal every year, getting between 65 and 105 lakes.
With boyfriend Harry by her side and landowner Jim to guide the way, this trio takes the bend in the trail that will lead them on their journey.
The trails that we were on were logging trails that were put in by the county just to gain access to the timber back there. In fact, my road was initially put in as a logging trail. I think anytime anybody, if she needs help, nobody's going to say no. They're going to say, yes, what can I do for you? Very nice gal.
Look at how pretty this one is. Isn't that pretty? That is really pretty because it's so soft. I think I'll just put it in my kayak and we'll take it along. Can be our mascot for the day. One of my favorite stories is on a trail like this, and it was probably like 10 years ago, and in the leaf litter like this, there was a fawn. And honest, if I had taken 2 more steps, I would have stepped on it. Luckily, it jumped up. And unlike seeing a snake, I never screamed or anything. It didn't frighten me because it was so little and so flimsy. And it jumped up and I just froze. You're never that close to a newborn fawn, and it blended in so well with its spots and the sunlight. It was tan, and it was curled up so tiny with its head tucked. It stood up, and then luckily it must have sniffed or must have gotten the idea, and it took off in the same direction as the doe had gone. So that was pretty neat to see that. Another time came upon a family of trumpeter swans with 8 cygnets, and that was really neat because they were just fluff balls. And the daddy, I'm assuming it was the daddy swan, got very angry and started to come across the lake with its 6-foot or 8-foot wingspan just coming across the lake. And so my first thought was, if I have to, I'll just take this paddle apart and use it as a baseball bat. And I've got one chance because this thing has a neck that's bigger and stronger than my arm. So I'll have one chance. Otherwise, I'll probably meet my maker on this lake. Of course, we got off the lake, and the daddy swan escorted us right off the water, made sure we got out of there. I've seen moose, bear, had a little stare down with a timber wolf. A couple of summers ago, I came up over a hill on a power line, and first thing I saw was a timber wolf. And a lot of times when you see something in the woods, it'll look at it for an instant and then take off. But the timber wolf and I had a bit of a stare down, and I thought, what is the deal here? Look at that. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
That is really a pretty one. This mushroom here is really pretty. But don't eat it. Oh, here's another one. Look at that. What? No. What? Are those real?
Never seen anything like that.
Wow. I'll have to get a photo. Well, I just heard on the radio the other day that if you're going to eat mushrooms, you better know what you're eating. And you should only eat one kind of mushroom at a time. That way, if something goes wrong, the doctors will know how to treat you. Well, it's pretty. Foot Lake, okay. Alrighty. We're getting log placed here. It's really pretty, isn't it?
Harry and Mary,
really
a paddling pair, have found a common connection in kayaking.
We were friends before we ever started dating, and she's just got a great personality, and we get along good. You get to see a lot of things. So we always paddle close to the shore, usually, and you can look way in the woods on a lot of lakes, and you get to see a lot of neat stuff. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
It's just bright. Boy, that's just spectacular. It's like going in a light cave or something.
Soon, her paddle had dipped into Lake 100, then 300, in time 600, and even paddling past her original goal.
And I realized, well, I've already paddled 800 and some. So I just crossed out that 750 and put 1007. And I believe I will do it.
As the number of lakes paddled increases, so does the challenge of reaching the water. Could, but I think we're going to continue with
thick trail. I wonder if we could just take the cart. Maybe we could just take the boats off the carts and drag them. I might just take it off and drag it, and if you want help, we'll just lift yours around. But I think things are going to get caught up too much in all of this. Now you kids are getting a taste of what a lot of these lakes are, the ones that are left are like. Sucker. He will wish he wore his boots. I could not quit laughing. We did see some real bear poop. For real. This would definitely be a place where I'd have to tie a pink ribbon, because if you guys leave, we're just Blair Witch Project. We're out of luck, baby. Boy, this would be the place if you're a duck hunter.
This duck haven is a hunting heaven. However, Mary takes aim at capturing the moment.
So I take photos on the water and on the way to the water and anywhere else there's something interesting, and then I turn the good photos into cards, and then I sell those cards around town. A lot of times what you see on the way to the lakes is even more interesting than the lakes themselves, so I get a lot of opportunity to explore, see and photograph the flora and the local fauna. This is a curious picture. A lot of people just wouldn't have a clue what this one is, and actually what it is a beaver slapping the water, and you can just see the spray of water, how high it is and how wide it goes. It's a beaver hut. It's like made out of lily pads. This is really neat. I've never seen one like this. It's like got lily pads on it. It's really cute. Well, it's like where the fairies would hang out or something. I've never seen this before. This is really cool.
With each lake paddled, Mary, the Kayak Lady, is one adventure closer to her goal. That spirit for adventure is inspired by her 87-year-old mother, Goldie, whose adventures have taken them sky high and worldwide.
She's been an inspiration. She's a strong, independent woman that's pretty fearless. So she's a good woman to emulate, and I'm thankful she's my mother. So we have this little competition, even though there's 40 years between us, and she's soon to be 87. So Mom started her bucket list when she turned 80. The first thing we did was go up in a hot air balloon, and she loved it. And I was like this, wide eyes, white face, dry mouth. And I realized I was scared up there. When Mom turned 82, we went nuts. We went skydiving. I've never been